Good morning. It is 6:15, and Austin made national news yesterday when the council cut $150 million from the budget for the Austin Police Department.
The council's vote was unanimous. And joining us to talk about that vote early this morning and what it means for Austin going forward is Austin Mayor Steve Adler. Mayor, thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. It's good to be with you.
Good morning. Governor Abbott wasting no time saying that you were wrong to defund the Austin Police Department, and you're putting the safety of people in Austin at risk. Are you?
No. To say that we slashed $150 million makes for a good headline, but it's real misleading. What we did was we did fill some unfilled positions. We indefinitely delayed 3 cadet classes, and that raised about $20 million. We took that $20 million and we put it to mental health first responders. We increased the amount of money we have to take people that don't have homes downtown and get them out of camps and actually put them into homes. We increased the spaces for women that are trying to get out of abusive homes. Right now, there's no place for them to go. They're put on waiting lists, so we're going to get them out before they end up as a crime statistic. But it was only about $20 million. We had another bucket for about $80 million that nothing's changing immediately, but we've said to staff, maybe there should be civilian control of the forensics lab. Maybe internal affairs shouldn't report directly to the chief, but it have its own independent reporting structure to keep internal affairs separate. Maybe we should combine 911 and 311. That bucket added up to $80 million. No changes yet, but it's something we've asked staff to take a look at. We have another bucket that says, hey, take a look at mounted patrol or traffic work or training and recruiting. Maybe those things also shouldn't report directly into the police. Maybe they should have civilian command. So those are big things, and those are important things, and it gives us a chance to really change the culture. But as far as the city, I don't think the city's going to recognize or operate any differently if there's civilian control or command on forensics or some of these other things. They're really important things to have done, but the headline is misleading to suggest that we've taken $150 million and slashed it from the police department.
They will certainly, though, be big changes for the police department. Do you have the confidence in Chief Manley to implement these changes?
I'm as a council, the person that we hold responsible is the city manager, Spencer Cronk. He's the one that reports to us, and that's where our control is. And I absolutely expect the city manager to handle this. He set up a system of reimagining and implementing these kinds of things, investigating them. We've asked the manager to come back if there are any unseen consequences that we haven't thought about, but also to take a look at how it might be the best way to do this. This is going to be a year-long process evaluating these things, and I do expect him to get this done.
Mayor Adler, I know what you're saying, that people of Austin may not notice a difference if you're taking certain things away from APD's control, like the forensics lab, which a lot of people argued should have been done a long time ago. What I'm concerned about, and what we're hearing, is that people are saying you're going to get a record number of police officers who are retiring. You're going to get a record number of police officers who are saying, we're done, we're not going to do this job anymore because you don't believe in us. So how is cutting a police cadet class, 3 of them, how is that not going to jeopardize the staffing at APD?
Well, we don't know exactly what happens with staffing. A lot of the police calls right now are health calls, like the fire department. So one of the things we're doing is beefing up EMS with this money so that they can respond to more calls, taking down the caseload. If we could take 100 people that are camped out downtown, that are chronically getting involved with the police and our emergency rooms, and put them into homes, I think that might limit the number of police officers that we might need downtown. So we're going to be taking a look at things we can do to change the number of officers we need. But with this, there's nothing about what we did last night that takes any job away from any police officer. Hopefully, we're going to be giving the officers the return of the time to do the things we want them to actually do, which is fighting crime for us. That's where police officers should be focused. We shouldn't be having them as our mental health first responders. And hopefully we're going to give them more time to work on crime.
You know, we ran a story, though, this morning on people who had moved here to become cadets, to become Austin police officers, and now their lives are in limbo. What do you say to that person who isn't sure about their future and isn't sure if APD is where they should be going?
Well, I think that the city has a responsibility now to be working with those folks, and the announcement from the staff yesterday was that we were going to be doing everything we could. And I recognize through this process, through the virus process, there are these instances of hardships. We have to deal with them as best we possibly can. But the ability to be able to do something that's different. Our police budget's increased 50%, I think, in the last 5 or 6 years. There's got to be a better way for us to maintain the high level of safety that we have in the city of Austin. And it makes sense to me that increasing EMS, taking people off the streets and out of the campsites and putting them into homes, giving women, taking them out of, giving them a safe place to be so they don't have to stay in a place where they fear violence. Those things, I think, all will make our city safer.
Mayor Adler, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Of course, we'll continue to talk to you as the conversation continues here in Austin.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.